Hey there, AfterBuzzers! This is Supergirl, Season 2, Episode 20, City of Lost Children. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hello! Welcome back! Yeah, you guys know what this is. This is AfterBuzz TV, and I'm your host, Tauri Miller, and I'm joined by a wonderful panel. To my left, we got Stephanie Wenger.
Hi. I just wanted to go as high as possible.
Yeah.
Hi, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Stephanie Wenger.
Lex Michael.
Is this going to be the whole show, you growling at me?
Might be.
I am Lex Michael. I am all over social media at the Lex Michael, and I am a little frightened.
Yeah, you should be. Joelle Monique.
That's the best way anyone's ever said my name, so thank you. I'm Joelle Monique. Find me all over the internet at Joelle Monique and every week at blackgirlnerds.com. It's hard to be preppy and over this song. I feel like I should embody the voice too, but I don't have the range.
Just do it.
No, I'm like a little kitten. I got nothing.
Breaking the wall. Come on, everybody. You can find me at Tauri T-U-R-I J-A-Y. Yeah. Why don't we talk about today's episode? So, we opened with a sweet, sweet fight scene between Guardian and some thugs. But it turned out the lady was more scared of him than he would of him.
She wasn't him?
Not
You're
the
close.
guy
We
that
almost
was
got her out there.
him.
Yep. Oh,
Yeah,
almost got it out.
Which
Things
makes sense
happen.
because even if you're being attacked by two guys that are dressed more or less in street clothes, yes, of course, you're probably a little bit afraid. But if the guy that chases those two guys off is a dude wearing a suit, big helmet, you can't see his face, and he's growling at you, I can imagine that may also be a little off-putting if you're not prepared for this guy to be hanging out in your town.
When your main superhero of your community is like blonde hair, blue eyed, tall, pretty lady whose face is uncovered, you know, you may not be used to like the Dark Knight kind of masked vigilantism that, you know, Guardian kind of represents. This is not the usual hero they're used to embracing.
Though I would like to imagine that in this city, that thugs get beat up all the time by tougher thugs and are like, I'm going to take your wallet now. But speaking of the Dark Knight, we did get a sweet, sweet reference by Wynn when he was trying to figure out what was wrong with Guardian.
Yes.
Where they were talking about Guardian feeling like he doesn't want to lead by fear and he doesn't want to be that kind of hero. He wants to be someone who inspires.
Right, and they referenced, like, Clark's friend.
Right. And they did this, which, for those listening, we are putting our fingers against my head.
Like a cowl.
Like a cowl.
You guys really should
Like
be
a
backing over the ears a
bat-like
little bit.
Cowl.
But, you know, yeah, there you go.
No. Right here. Like an antenna.
I just wasn't expecting it. Out of nowhere. Beautiful.
Like Batman.
Yes.
He listens to this music too.
You know he does. Like when Bruce is just lifting, it's all power metal.
When he's hitting that, pulling on the tire, he's listening to a lot of really angry covers.
I'd like to imagine also in the Batmobile when he's on his way to a crime, he's like, we don't need no education, unlike Clark. So yeah, that was our sweet, sweet Batman reference, and I like that one conversation was enough to kind of set up Jimmy's whole storyline for this episode.
Yeah, this had some great foreshadowing into what was going to happen kind of later in the episode. Like, you were able to start putting those puzzle pieces together kind of from the first scene.
Well, and most of what I appreciated about this storyline tonight, I appreciated largely on a conceptual level. We've talked on our show off and on all season about, you know, where is this Guardian subplot going? What do they do? It felt like even they at times weren't quite sure what the end game was for Jimmy putting this costume on. And to see him have this same moment of realization that I think we've been having all season long, it was like, okay, like, yes, we can now address this. Now, if it was up to me, I don't know that I would have taken the full hour to address it like 2 weeks before the end of the season with so many other plates spinning. But now that we we have Jimmy set on this new path of sorts, I think that gives him a lot of places he can go in these last 2 episodes that we maybe would not have been able to expect.
I agree with you, Lex. I would like to have seen this at least like 3 weeks ago, like before Caramel becomes like a real thing, and that is kind of the direction that the show starts taking, is their relationship and how does that work. I would have loved to have seen a Jimmy-centered episode where we could have understood why he felt he needed to become the Guardian in the first place. But I love how they did kind of explore this topic. Just I like the fact that Jimmy, even with the mask on, is kind of treated like a black guy, and the fact that people are still, scared of him, and he's not even showing his skin, and he's trying his best to do good, and then they kind of attempt to explore these themes throughout the episode. And well, I'm not sure if it was like a slam dunk, a hit out of the park, other sports references. I do appreciate the attempt.
Yeah, it was I mean, it was definitely a birdie or a turkey. I was trying for a sports reference as well.
I like it.
Yeah. I think it was moderately done. I mean, because we had him essentially trying to be more than just a vigilante, and he got to be kind of a mentor to Marcus, whose mother accidentally went on a rampage, and so he has to really try to connect to this kid who has who's, I guess, basically taken a liking to him.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh, I was just going to say that I feel like this is the first time I agree with you. I would have preferred to have this a little earlier in the season, but I, at times, really wondered where James was this season.
Mm-hmm.
And this, at least we got a lot of his storyline tonight, and I'm excited for season 3 to see where this goes, because this felt like opening a box, and there's still a lot more to come out of that box, I think.
I hope you're right, because it felt a lot more like a closing of a box to me.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, did you think that this was the end for Jimmy?
I didn't think it was going to go at the end of this episode, but it felt like when shows are about to relieve characters of duty, they give them like a big episode where you're like, oh, I remember why I love this character in the first place, and then like something tragic happens, you're like, oh, that's so them, they're so selfless, and then they die. So it wouldn't surprise me if that was the route that Supergirl takes. Jimmy hasn't been doing a lot on the show.
Absolutely.
Hasn't been a lot of episodes. His story arc, he's kind of expendable at this point, and it would hurt everyone on the team in equal measure. So,
But I also, that would be, I'm of two minds, because I can totally see the argument for if there's a character and you're not able to adequately service this character's storyline when you've got so much else going on, then yeah, there comes a time where you have to cut what seems extraneous.
Mm-hmm.
But also, James Olsen is such a massive part of the Superman mythology. So I would say if we're going to write him off, if we can't figure out how to continue to fully integrate him into the rest of the ongoing storylines, at least give him an opportunity to go off and do something else.
come back with Superman.
Don't like Zack Snyder another version of Jimmy Olsen on this show. I feel like you just give him he's like, I gotta go, like he could do a Cat Grant. He'd be like, I gotta go find myself. So I'm going to travel the world and be James Olsen all over the place, and sometimes he'll come back.
Like photographer, like she's out writing the stories, he's out capturing the stories, buddy team, cat cohorts,
cat spin-off, cat buddy, cat buddy people all over the place this fall on CW.
Yeah, that is a spin-off I would 100% watch, by the way.
So I have a different take on this, in that I feel like there two folds, and my take is mostly based on what I feel like happened in the writer's room / production arena, in that I felt like this was the best time to have this storyline, one, to wrap up Jimmy's storyline in terms of his arc, which I will get to in a second, and I also felt like it being in this place allowed them to kind of store up a lot of their budget and their resources for the finale, which will be a big two-parter. So from the production standpoint, I think this was probably the best way of doing it.
For sure.
From a storytelling standpoint, I think this was a good way for the writers to pivot that character to go, we don't feel like the Guardian is necessarily working, so what we'll do is we'll make Jimmy ascend beyond the idea of the Guardian. He thought the only way to help people would be to beat people up in the streets, but he found out that he can help people outside of the suit.
And that was one of the most powerful moments of the episode for me, was when he had that realization of that, I'm not sure if it was him or somebody else said, oh, that's like when you're a hero. And it was him talking to Marcus. And
I think it was at the end when Wynn was like saying that that's a hero without a suit.
Yes, exactly.
Not all heroes wear capes, guys.
And I thought that was what Jimmy has been from the beginning. He's, you know, he is that good guy, and to bring it back to that felt really nice.
And I would like to see, yes, I'd like to see Jimmy more fully integrated into more of these storylines, but I also like the idea that if we're going to keep him around, yeah, he's not going to wear the suit because there are other types of heroism. And I feel like on all of these shows across the DC CW lineup, we've gotten examples of that, and they've been explored really interestingly. But the longer all of these shows are on, the more of these characters get superpowers or like near magic technology, and they all, even though they're all fascinating characters in their own right, we're moving a lot closer to the same model of heroism across the board for a lot of these characters. I love that we do get this moment for Jimmy where he goes, oh, I can be a hero, but I can do this instead. And I think too, like, that really does honor his friend more than doing a Batman thing.
Right.
One, yes, totally honor Superman. Two, wicked cool to see Jimmy from the ground. We have that really long shot of Supergirl just like a speck in the sky, like protecting everybody, and then getting the reverse of that when Supergirl saves the kid Marcus from the building and kind of retracts him from it. It's cool to see the drama and the action from both sides, and especially, I think it really highlighted how Jimmy feels, just kind of small and unable to help. This is solid directing.
Yeah, I agree. And speaking of Marcus, I felt like he did a really good job. Like, he was a really great actor in this. Like, you got so much out of him, from just like his speechless times, and also when he was interacting with Jimmy, playing with the cameras, and you kind of get a little bit of Jimmy's backstory and stuff like that.
And just as a little side note to that, This Is Us fans will definitely recognize him. He's the same little boy from This Is Us, and he's phenomenal on that show. And then to see him do a completely different thing on this show, I mean, prop to him.
And following that same thread, I mean, like, seriously, hats off to Mehcad Brooks, because I feel like we haven't seen him do a whole lot in a while. He hasn't had a whole lot of heavy lifting acting-wise, I think, most of the season. And he was given a big range of material to work with tonight, and I thought he crushed all of it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, especially the big, heavy, dramatic scenes that he doesn't really get to play on this show that often, because he's usually...
Hardly ever.
Right.
No, that dad speech, y'all, all my feelings about, like, he was my guardian, and then I moved to Metropolis, and I made a friend and walls, and I was like, oh, God, it's too, like, many real live emotions, and it was so good. And then a little later when he's talking to Marcus, and he's trying to break the psychic chain, and he's, like, doing his Batman yell, but it's like real and believable, because we've seen a lot of people try to pull off that like grovelly yell, and you're just like, bro, tone it down like a lot, like this is tacky. But I thought he did a really good job.
Yeah, I mean, it reminded me more of his season 1 situations. Like, he was so good in season 1. We just haven't had a lot of him. I don't question he's a great actor. It's just we haven't had him this much this season, and so this episode was definitely like his moment to shine.
And I feel like it's no fault of Mehcad Brooks. Certainly, I feel like James Olsen keeps getting stuck in these subplots that don't end up fully working. I feel like his principal role in the first season was as a potential romantic interest for Kara, and that didn't really pan out. And they backed off of it, I think, when they realized that those two characters worked a lot better as friends. This season, he was mostly sidelined doing the Guardian thing, and they realized, okay, well, that maybe is not quite the direction we want to pursue either.
I hope he sticks around, though. Like, I know we talked about this may be a potential exit strategy for him. I hope that we, number 1, get a season 3, and 2 is that, like, he is on it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think if anyone is going to die, it's the concept of Guardian, not necessarily Jimmy or James Olsen.
We'll see.
Yeah, we will see. Speaking of backstories and dads, we got a really interesting story from John Jones, where he was talking about how he found his purpose in life, and that was through being a father, and that sent him into law enforcement. I thought it was a really touching moment.
God damn you, John. At first I was so mad to come in the house disrespecting Jimmy. Like, this guy's gonna do this as a DEO. Hey, you just sit down. And I slapped my hand on the table because I was really upset, because Jimmy deserves respect. James deserves, he's a man.
Yeah, put some respect on his name.
Yes. But then this, again, very emotional story. And if you know anything about Jean outside of the show, and kind of the stuff that he suffered, they get into a little bit on the show. They give him a really nice backstory episode, but like the fire, the being enslaved, like he watched his entire like race be killed, murdered in front of him. To know that it wasn't just him trying to be a superhero afterwards, because I always get the sense like he escaped and then he became a hero because he knew what tragedy could bring to other people. But the idea that he tried to do something in the moment and become an officer and make changes, that is just so huge, and I think it speaks a lot to the character, and I'm excited about this backstory.
Sidebar really quickly, a few people in the chat are pointing out, it has been renewed for third season. I think that happened in like January.
Yeah.
It took me a second too, and I was like, wait, are we not getting a season 3?
No, I as soon as I said it, I was like, I think that was news a few months ago.
Yes.
But okay,
Sorry,
so to what we were talking about, that monologue was fantastic, wonderfully performed by David Harewood. I love so deeply that we're at a place where we have shows like this where you get this very impactful, very deep, very personal monologue about pain and about loss and using it to transform and motivate yourself. And then also in the middle of that monologue, you get a line, no tongue-in-cheek, no wink, no giggle, and then I joined the law enforcement on Mars. That's like everything. That's like giving me all the cake and letting me eat all the cake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
you
much
enjoy
cake.
that cake.
It's delicious,
Dang.
delicious cake.
It's iced up, son.
So good.
Just got weirdly sexual in here. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah. We enjoy some cooking here. Hey, speaking of weirdly sexual, let's talk about love and how much we love doing this show. We know you love watching it, and you know how you can show us how much you love this show? You can go on to iTunes and rate, subscribe, leave a comment below. That's how you can show your love for this show. You can also go on to
Keep vamping.
you
Keep
can go
vamping.
on to YouTube. And you can also go into those comments and tell us how much you love and we respond. You can also hit that thumbs up so everyone knows that you love it. And also, you can subscribe to AfterBuzz TV to get all the latest episodes of Supergirl and every show that we do here on AfterBuzz TV.
What's the percentage that you're gonna lose your voice tomorrow?
I'd say probably about 80%.
Just had to ask. Had to
Yeah.
go there.
Yeah. We got reviews. What?
Heck yeah.
What?
Why don't y'all share some reviews?
Prodigal 358 says, love the after show. You all are amazing. The only way for Kara and Mon-El to be more cute together is Kara comes home to see Mon-El reading a book and is crying. She goes over to him and sees him reading Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. When asked if he is okay, he sobs out the name Dobby, and she gives him a hug to comfort him. I didn't know I was going to be reading a potential script for Harry Potter, but I'd watch the hell out of that show.
I'm into it.
Where I think because that was the only new one on this. There are 2 separate
There are
pages
2?
for this. Hang on.
What?
Just keep vamping.
Just
no, we got-
Oh, I've done all the vamping I can do. I can do only so much vamping.
Oh yeah, Channel 5 says good recap podcast. This podcast has improved since the first few episodes of season 1. Gets better every week. The hosts do a good job giving a recap of the episode and also providing some extra analysis.
That was from like March 26th.
You the best.
But we love you, Tanner 5.
You know what? If I read it twice, I don't care. You're dope, and we appreciate your love.
That's true. We do some great recaps. All right. Anyways, back to the show.
This is what's known as committing to a bit.
Yes.
Oh god.
Speaking of bits,
Lena and Rhea were doing a bit, but together, in which they were building a new machine.
Ah!
Yes,
Oh.
they were spending a bit of time
That was
with
a
one
twisty
another.
road we were going down.
Yes.
I was just like, let's see where this
How
goes.
we get there? Where do we land?
Yeah, Rhea was doing a bit where she was tricking Lena into building a giant teleporter.
Okay, so we arrive here at probably my single biggest issue with this episode, which is I'll phrase it as a question: did you guys buy that Lena would be completely duped this easily?
I mean, no, not at all. Like, look, if you're craving a relationship of a type of love that's missing from your life, like, you know, motherly love and nurture, like, she saw through the alien part. Like, I feel like she was like, oh, I see the lie that you're telling. You're probably, so that's a big lie to hold. what else could be bigger? Oh, you're evil and you bring a whole army? Who would have thunk? I wouldn't have. And I feel like, it's a scientist, someone who's challenging her, someone who wants her to change the world, and then gives her just enough. And that's what makes Rhea such a great villain. She gives you just enough hope to live on, and then she just, slams you with a hammer. She's like, screw it. I have to, your whole world is going to be gone because, I need a planet now.
Right, of course.
Sure.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I find this to be an interesting dynamic, but not a particularly, I'm with you, a believable one. I feel like Lena would figure this out faster than what we're seeing play out.
Certain things, like the phone. It's
The
like,
phone
what are you
was-
doing with my phone, homie? That's odd. You know what? Maybe I don't call the police right now, but I'm a Luthor. I'm conditioned to at least look a little sideways at what's happening all the time.
Right. But it was too late by that point.
Right.
So I bought that she was really, as Joelle said, craving motherly love and found this mentor figure that gave her everything that she wanted. I also bought that she, since her mother was so anti-alien, that she would go out of her way to try to help this alien who was reaching out to her, just to prove how much she wasn't like her mother.
Right.
I think where I have a disconnect is the fact that they started with a big giant teleporter as opposed to a personal teleporter to send this one person back to her home planet. So I think that disconnect is there for me because that would have been a big red flag.
We're starting with this giant portal that is very clearly built for more than one thing to travel through at once.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's my one place where I think Lena would have figured it out. But other than that, I bought the relationship between the two of them, especially with the way that Rhea was talking to her.
Did you think Rhea was genuine at any point, or was it all lies?
I think it was partial lies. I think
sure.
I think her encouragement was very much genuine. I think that she saw something in Rhea, but it was also still a means to an end.
Well, Rhea always knew her intention. So in that, she would have to be... Her intention was always to do something awful. And so I don't know, even if some things she was saying, her encouragement may have been true, whatever, it all kind of leads to the lie.
Well, it's a little bit, right, it's a little bit like dangling the cheese so that the mouse will go where you want it to go. And I totally buy, maybe Rhea does find Lena's intellect impressive, but I feel like it's not impressive, it's impressive for a human.
Right.
I think Rhea was genuinely surprised at how much she liked Lena. I think initially Lena was a means to an end, and then as they started working together, particularly when she gives her the look, you don't have to do things like your brother. There are other ways. If Rhea was if she didn't think she could get the job done, she could just go find someone else or go collect materials from somewhere else. But she stuck with Rhea, I think, for a reason. And I find it interesting that they could have a potential relationship with one another.
I just feel like once you establish someone as a means to an end, that relationship can never be true in any capacity. It's always going to be tainted in some way.
Interesting.
It is definitely tough when you expressly use somebody as a tool for your own machinations to then turn it around and go, no, but I care though.
Yeah.
For real.
That's a
I
hard
do.
thing also as a viewer, I think, to wrap your head around, to come full circle.
It's doable, but then you do have to earn that. You know what I mean? That's got to be something you arc to, and it can't just be you're nice now, sure.
Right. I think it would be frustrating to have that happen, say, in the next 2 episodes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the chat is pretty upset that Lena did not check Rhea on the cell phone business. Yeah, no one answers my phone. And if you do, I have a lot of questions. And I'm for sure checking the last call. Who did you pick up and why are you on my phone ever? It's a private phone.
Because you either have to buy that Lena Luthor is so now enamored of this potential mentor figure that she's so cool with it. And I only buy that up to a point. Or you have to buy that Lena Luthor has absolutely no security on her cell phone at all, and I don't buy that for a second.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is that if you start to think about any normal smartphone out there...
Not even a 4-digit passcode.
Yeah, just it becomes very unrealistic in that, and also, anytime that you leave your phone unlocked, feel like the first thing anyone does is like look at your text messages. You start to like look at what's happened on your phone.
Not for nothing, and not even just because she's Luthor. I mean, just she's running a company, and it's a tech company with a lot of really expensive, cutting-edge technology that comes in and out of there. I would imagine you wouldn't want people to have access to your phone.
Right.
You know what? All right. I'll accept that she didn't think to secure her phone at all if in the next episode she programs a passcode into that thing and goes, I have made a grievous error.
Yeah.
In her defense, when a phone is ringing, you don't need a passcode to access it.
That's true. You can just slide it open.
Right. So, and that's what Rhea did, is she was just like, yeah, Kara, boop, boop. So
that's right. That's fair. That actually,
flaw.
you just blew a hole in second point. But then we go back to my first point, which is why is she not bothered more that this lady's just taking her phone?
I mean, she did side-eye her a little bit, but yes, there was no like direct confrontation about it. Maybe she was waiting for their next dinner.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be like, I don't know, very close to someone, I feel like, to have that be okay. Maybe that's just like my own personal thing, but...
But you know what, then it's like, all right, I'm getting real hung up on the phone thing. I can imagine if I'm in Lena's position, I might go, okay, that's really weird, but look at all the big science we're doing. Moving on.
Also, you could be like, oh, she's an alien. She doesn't really understand etiquette.
But I see, and you could sell me on that point if she didn't seem so well versed in etiquette in almost every other area.
I mean, maybe, but like, there are always little things. When you go to a foreign country, you could like study all the things, but not necessarily know like small things.
That's true.
Like
On Daxam, we just have one community smartphone.
Totally. Yeah.
Like we have to schedule when we use
Lines up.
Spotify. There are a lot of conflicts.
Yeah, it's really uncomfortable, especially in the royal house.
Everyone sees everyone's texts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sexting
Is awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it's not awkward, and everyone's just like, yeah. Bob was on the phone the other day. Man,
They're sexting
what a
now, it's
weird
getting
history.
serious.
Yep. But speaking of royal families in Daxam, I like that we got Sleuth Mon-El today. Like, he saw his mother, and then he's just like, he was almost doctor-like in the way that he was bumbling his way through, like, figuring out stuff. So he goes up to Win and is like, hey, why'd you do that scanning, Bob?
Can you guys scan things? I was like, do you need a document? I was very confused for a moment. I'm like, you need a scanner, like a Xerox, like the whole, you want to scan the skies for your mom's spaceship. I remember what show we're watching now. Totally fine. Got it.
We just wanted some basic office duties done. Don't worry about it.
Totally, yeah. He's also an alien who doesn't know etiquette. So,
Yeah.
you gotta just give him a break, brah.
And he lost his ice cream today.
Yeah, the guy who bumped into him was such a jerk where he just, like, he waved his arms.
I'm sorry,
and
for
then
like
kept
$1.33
going.
cone, I'd have been the same way, like, sorry, bro, gotta go, bye.
He didn't even, like, say anything, though. He's just like, whatever.
Ice cream is clearly not a priority for you.
What happens when you live in a busy city? Like, watch your ice cream. Why are you eating in the middle of the sidewalk?
Where else are you supposed to eat,
Pick
Joelle?
a park bench or get, like, a lid thing and then take it in your car or something.
Sometimes, man, you're on the go. You don't have time to secure your desserts. You just gotta eat as you motor.
Totally.
You may care about ice cream more than I do.
I feel like the ice cream is your cell phone for this episode.
Okay.
That's like your big moral conundrum.
I am with the chat in that the ice cream fell and it was sad. It was gone. It was lost. The guy was kind of mean. We were hurting.
No. Hashtag bring back the ice cream. The ice cream is going to come back in the last episode and be the Deus Ex Machina of the whole thing. He's going to become a vigilante. It's going to be a giant...
He's near the teleporter. He just drops it into the gears on the thing, and it reverse teleports them all back to
I was just going to get a
Exactly.
Kickstarter so he could have another ice cream. Like, I was just going to buy a new one. But I like your guys' idea, too. Deus Ex Machina ice cream. Sure, why not?
Yes.
I feel like I'd have to donate to the Mon-El ice cream Kickstarter.
Yeah.
But not much, mind you, but
Right,
like
of
a little
course.
bit.
Ridiculous.
Oh, man.
I think we can probably collectively buy him the cone, just the four of us.
Maybe.
I think we
let's
need the glow
kickstart
bead.
one ice cream
the
cone.
ultimate Deus Ex Machina.
Right,
Deus
you know what it
Ex
is?
Machina. Hashtag Deus Ex Machina.
Helena needs hugs, suggested the bad guy just slip on the ice cream.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
Just and done. Just slip, fall on the back, sue somebody.
Man. But anyways, Mon-El finally found out what happened to his father, which was real tragic because it was a lie. Rhea was like, your father killed himself by way of knife in my hand.
Oh my God, Rhea!
I mean, that was a moment where Rhea is clearly pure evil and has been. I mean, we've talked about it before on the show. But when you start lying to your son about the way his father died, that's a whole other level of
When you start killing your son's father,
I would argue, as uncool a thing as it is that she did tonight, I think the killing of the father was maybe just a step
Sure,
further.
that's fair. That's totally fair.
I don't know, guys.
It bothered me so much. Like, it bothered me, obviously, the death, but the lying tonight was really bad.
Yeah.
Well, it just felt awful because, like, in this moment, like, okay, so someone at the top of the chat was like, hey, guys, how would you kill your mom? To which we were like, oh, but then I was like, yeah, I'm watching the episode, and I really wanted him to kill his mother. Like, and so close to Mother's Day, I feel a little bit bad about it, but I'm also like, she's awful and a horrible human being, and we could end this right this second. But it is his mom. But also, how do you think he finds out about his dad? Because he's got to find out, right?
I would imagine so.
Even if he never finds out about his dad, now that the portal's open and all the Daxamites are showing up, she's pretty open about the fact that they're about to stage a genocide on planet Earth, right? I feel like once you do a genocide, you don't get to play the mom card.
Well, maybe not a genocide, just an enslavement.
Oh, we're talking mere degrees here as far as how not cool it is.
It's like a mere enslavement. Just a little enslavement. You know?
It's turning real dark.
They're gonna take those ships. They're gonna chain up all the people they view as savages. They're gonna put them head to toe. It's gonna be real analogous.
I feel like with enslavement usually comes genocide. Like, they're just people just die in giant waves because repressed people cannot live very long, happy lives.
It's true.
So I don't know. I went with Lex. There no mom cards anymore. But I also don't feel that Mon-El, with all he's been through, should have to be the one to pull the trigger. It's not going to be Supergirl because she doesn't use guns.
Right.
Guardian's best friend to Superman, so that would look kind of weird.
Yeah. Well,
who do we call? Who pulls the trigger on Rhea because she needs to die?
I don't think that we could kill her. She has to be imprisoned. Because, look.
Maggie will put a bullet in her head.
I vote Cat Grant. Cat Grant just comes in with twin assault rifles and just like, boom, boom, boom.
I heard you're not bulletproof.
and then Callista Flockhart goes back to LA.
Though, okay, so bringing that up, so they maybe this is prediction-y.
Oh.
But so here's the idea of all these Daxamites coming and essentially trying to usurp Earth. It almost seems less threatening because they are susceptible to bullets. So it's like they're really it's like they're a bunch of bodybuilders, but you could still shoot them in the face.
You could, but they're okay. Yes, but they also have big ships that probably have better guns than we do.
Perhaps.
That would
also,
be
they've already taken the sky, which means they have like the hill advantage. Like we can maybe launch like some missiles up there, but whatever comes up is gonna rain down, which is only gonna hurt our people. And we can't really like trying to figure out that trajectory and stuff. Science, we would need NASA, and I feel like it's a lot of ships for NASA to all of a sudden have a plan instantly.
Right.
Maybe. I mean.
Plus, if we have missiles, they have space missiles.
That's true. And no one beats space missiles. It's like, it's like
ground missiles, regular missiles,
with them with a little
space missiles.
A little spice,
yeah,
a little kick, little spacey spice on the missiles, and you mix them up and it makes them explode better.
Yeah,
and they got them. We don't got them. Space spicy missiles.
Spicy missiles.
Oh, jeez, gross.
Oh,
so yes,
you took it there.
So yes, now that we have new Daxam, essentially.
I don't think so.
Well, we are on the verge of a budding new Daxam. And that's where we left off, and I feel like it's a good time to jump into the predicciones.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
What are you doing to those predictions, Tauri?
I'm using the Therafin. Anyways, so now that we have the Daxam invasion, we have basically 2 episodes left in the season. What do you guys think will happen either in the next episode or through the season finale?
I'm super excited for Kat Grant's return.
Yeah, you
Yes,
are.
we saw her for a second in the promo for next week, and
Yes.
like that, it looks huge in terms of scale,
Yeah.
which is appropriate because we just got a sky full of spaceships. And we have Tyler Hoechlin is coming back as Superman, which is great, and like it seems like now is a great time for him to do that. It seems
Yeah.
like pretty much wherever he is on Earth, he's going to turn on a TV at some point and go, "Hey, that's different," and he'd come and hang out. So that's exciting. I like the idea that we can bring back all of our significant players and threads from the very beginning of the season and hopefully tie them all together and pay them off in a way that is not just emotionally satisfying, but also writ on the biggest scale possible, which it looks like they're going for.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's an all-out war next week, and Casket Fan 1 reminds me the president is an alien. So maybe they do have a plan. Maybe they are prepared. I don't know.
Maybe.
Well, when Rhea said that a white Martian gave her that piece of technology, did we decide that the president isn't a white Martian, or did she look enough like a white Martian that we went, maybe the president is a white Martian?
I think we had decided she was not.
Okay. Because I was like, maybe it was the president. But if we
That would be
decided
quite
it
the
wasn't,
twist.
then it probably...
We thought the president was good because, you know, she was Wonder Woman, and then it turns out not so good, and she was a white Martian, and she was giving away. That would be nuts. I hope that's not true, but also it would be really good storyline. I'm just looking forward to All Out War because, like, this episode showed us really well that they can differentiate between hierarchical systems within a military. Just in
Yeah.
that, like, if Supergirl's like the general, then you know you've got like Guardian as like a foot soldier.
Right.
And it'd be really cool to see how does the DEO, how do they handle going into combat situations versus the vigilante side of them
Yeah.
versus Supergirl in a
Also,
war.
according to a couple of people in the chat, the president is apparently a Durlan.
Ah,
So
Durlan.
take all of that I just said, strike it right from your memory. Just hit yourself real hard till you forget that I said that.
Okay, great. So one little piece I want to get your opinions on is we see that Lillian Luthor comes back for these episodes, and she talks about the alien menace. Do you guys think that the DEO and Cadmus are going to team up to take on the Daxamites?
I hope so.
I mean, that would be amazing. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see how these final 2 episodes play out because I think they're what we've been waiting for. Like, the last few episodes have certainly played out like they are foreshadowing what is to come, and hopefully that will live up to our expectations.
Do you guys think that Rhea will kill or threaten to kill Mon-El as she starts losing? Because, I mean, obviously, Supergirl's going to win. It's her show. But when she starts losing, do you think she killed her husband. She was fine with it. She's fine to take over this planet and lead her people in this kind of unknown existence. Do you think she'd be willing to kill her son if it looked like she was going to lose?
Yes.
Okay.
No, honestly, I think that wouldn't be plan A. I think she'd much rather Mon-El come back with her, failing that, rule over this new Daxam together with her. But if it really becomes a matter of him directly standing in the way of her agenda, I think anyone is expendable to her. at this
Yeah, I
point.
was going to say, all bets are off. Once you're killing your husband, like, anybody's fair game at that point. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree. Though I would like, at least for her character, to make her not so evil. To have that one soft spot of she can do anything. She can sink to every low except kill her son. I think that would be great.
do you think she ultimately then wants to protect her son? Is that the goal out of all of this?
I did not get that sense here in
Yeah,
this
that was
episode.
not what my takeaway. That's interesting.
But it would I would be okay if that was the outcome, if she felt like the best thing to do was like, well, if I can't take you away from Supergirl, I would take everything Supergirl loves in the hopes that will turn you around somehow. But I don't know. I don't see it yet. Bex G in the chat says, are we going to see Alex and Kara's father anytime soon?
Yeah,
You
where'd
think he's gonna
Jeremiah
come
go?
back to do some alien fighting?
We did see a quick shot of Cyborg Superman in that promo.
That's
so
true.
where there's Cyborg Superman, there may somewhere in the vicinity be a Jeremiah Danvers.
That's true. And we'll have to see next week here on AfterBuzz TV. Thanks for joining us here on this Supergirl After Show. Make sure to join us weekly. We're here Mondays at 10 o'clock-ish. And in between, make sure to keep up with us on social media. Where can they find you guys?
They can find me at Stephanie Wenger, and be sure to check out our Pretty Little Liars after show tomorrow night.
Lex Michael.
I am all over social media at the Lex Michael. Obviously, we're here talking Supergirl every Monday night, but Tauri and I are also talking about Arrow Wednesday nights for the rest of the season. We missed last week because there was some baseball thing, something happening. But we're back this week and every week till the season ends. I'm also on Fargo. We do that show on Thursdays. Fargo is great. If you're not watching it, watch it. We love you. Mwah.
Joelle Monique.
Hey guys, I'm Joelle Monique. You can find me all over the internet at Joelle Monique, every week at blackgirlnerds.com. If you head over to the site now, you can check my diversity panel from Klexicon. Coming up soon will be my interview with W. Kamau Bell from, oh my gosh, Something America, CNN. You'll see it. You'll love it. It's amazing. Check out my interview with Louis Tan that I did with Rick Hong today on AfterBuzz for Iron Fist. If you watched episode 8, he's a drunken master, and he is the best. He's got a new show coming out. He gives us all the details about it. Wednesday at Schmo's Nose and other shows I do sometimes when, I don't know, Thursdays. Come back and check. I do a whole slew of them.
And I'm Tauri J. Miller. You can find me at Tauri J. It's TURIJAY. You can also find me on the ABTVDC CW slate, on Flash and Arrow. And then also Doctor Who on Sundays. And then this Wednesday morning, you can find me on Screen Junkies News. Yeah! Thank you again for joining us. Until next week, have a super time.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Spicy missile!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.